When we write code, we tend to build these elaborate structures in a computer's memory. We link one piece to the next, creating these sprawling, interconnected webs of data. But what if the most powerful way to organize that data wasn't to build up, but to flatten down? It all starts with how a computer sees something as simple as basic math. When you and I look at this, we see a simple math problem. We just know you multiply before you add. But for a computer, that order of operations isn't just a rule, it's a shape. It sees a tree. There's a plus operation at the very top, with C on one branch, and a multiply operation on the other, which then branches out to A and B. It's a whole network of connections. And this tree? Well, it's the textbook way to represent expressions like this. Each little part is its own separate object in memory, linked to its children by pointers, these digital addresses that tell the computer where to find the next piece of the puzzle. But what if you could take that entire branching structure and just lay it out, end to end, in a single, simple, linear list? Now, this isn't just a thought experiment. It's a very real technique known as data structure flattening, and for certain kinds of high-performance computing, it's something of a secret weapon. It's an idea that's both incredibly simple and, as it turns out, surprisingly effective. So, what is it exactly? Well, data structure flattening just means taking all those individual objects that make up our tree and packing them right next to each other, side by side, into one big array. And then, and this is the key, instead of using those memory pointers to connect them, we just use simple numbers, the index of each object in that array. To really wrap our heads around why this matters so much, we have to understand the fundamental difference between a pointer and an index. And for that, there's a pretty useful analogy. Imagine you need to visit 3 friends. If they live at random addresses scattered all over a city, you're going to spend a lot of time traveling between houses. That's kind of like a computer following pointers all over its memory. But what if all your friends live in the same apartment building? Then all you need are their unit numbers. You go to one single address and then you just walk down the hall. That's the efficiency of indices. So it all boils down to a pretty simple 2-step trade. First, we pack all the little pieces into one single ordered block of memory. And second, we replace every single one of those sprawling memory addresses with a simple number, its position in that block. Not an address, but an index. And this is where the practical impact really starts to show. See, a standard pointer on a modern computer takes up 64 bits of memory. But an index, well, if we know our array won't have more than, say, 4 billion elements, we can just use a 32-bit integer. We've literally just cut the memory cost of every single reference in half. That memory saving is nice, for sure, but it's just the beginning. The real prize here isn't saving space. It's about saving time. And the results? Well, they're pretty dramatic. In a direct head-to-head comparison, running the exact same task, the flattened version was 2.4 times faster. That's not a small tweak. That's a real game changer. And it kind of begs the question, where does all that speed actually come from? It turns out it's not just one thing. It's a combination of 4 distinct advantages that all work together. First, you get locality. With everything packed together, the computer can grab the data it needs way more efficiently. Second, you have those smaller references, which we just saw. Less data just means less work. Third, allocation becomes incredibly cheap. Adding a new node isn't a complex memory operation anymore. You're just adding an item to the end of a list. And fourth, deallocation is cheap. To free up all that memory, you don't have to go and visit every single node. You just delete the entire array at once. And just think about the impact of that last point. In one experiment, they told the standard program to just not bother cleaning up its memory, and it got massively faster. It turns out the program was spending a staggering 38% of its total runtime just freeing memory, one scattered piece at a time. But here's the kicker. Even when you take memory cleanup completely out of the equation for both versions, the flattened one is still 1.5 times faster. Those benefits from locality and cheap allocation are powerful all on their own. This is not just a one-trick pony. So far, we've kind of treated this whole flattening idea as an under-the-hood optimization, a clever trick. But the truly profound part is how it opens up an entirely new way of thinking about our data. Because we build our expression tree from the bottom up, creating the children A and B before we create their parent, multiply, we get this incredible side effect. In our flattened array, any reference from one node to another will always point to an earlier position in the array. The arrows always go backward. And that changes everything. We no longer have to perform a complex, recursive walk, jumping from a parent to its child and then back up again. We can simply start at the beginning of the array and scan forward, one element at a time, knowing that by the time we get to any parent node, we will have already processed all of its children. This shift from a tree walk to a simple linear scan leads to a final, really elegant surprise. By changing our data structure, we've accidentally reinvented a foundational concept in computer science. This new program, the one that just loops through our array of expressions and executes them in order, it isn't really a tree interpreter anymore. It's morphed into something else entirely. Something classic, powerful, and fundamental. As developer Bob Nystrom pointed out, what we've actually built is a bytecode interpreter. Our flat array of expressions has effectively become a list of instructions, the bytecode. And our simple loop that scans through them, that's our virtual machine. We started by trying to optimize a tree, and we accidentally ended up in the land of bytecode. It's a powerful reminder, really. We started with a tree, a structure that mirrors how we often think, branching, complex, reaching in all these different directions. But by arranging it all into a simple, straight line, we found a more fundamental truth. The most elegant solution wasn't a better tree. It was just a straight path forward.